We're going to talk a little bit about degrees and radian measure. We're pretty familiar with degree measure, but most people aren't very familiar with radian measure. But remember this, that from before when we looked at the unit circle, we realized that the angle and the distance subtended on the unit circle were the same. That is, if this angle were, say, 1 radian, then this distance would be a distance of 1 unit. Okay, or so the angle is intimately related to the distance on the unit circle, and if you watch those two videos on the unit circle, you'll see why. And also, we know that a distance all the way around the circle is 2 pi r, 2 pi times the radius, but the radius here is 1, so the distance t all the way around the circle is just 2 pi. So there are 2 pi radians in terms of angles in 360 degrees, and that's where we start. We start with the idea that 360 degrees equals 2 pi radians. We'll abbreviate radians like that. Now I'm going to erase the circle so I'll have some room. And here's how we're going to set this whole thing up. We're going to start out with the idea where we have degrees here and we have radians over here. Okay, and if I take 360 degrees, I'm going to have 2 pi of these radians, okay? This is degrees, this is radians, all right? So if I have half of this, 180 degrees, I'm going to have half of this, so it will be pi radians, won't it? And we can make a little chart if we want here. Put a double one here. All right, and then if I take it in half again, I get to 90 degrees. I get pi over 2 radians, right? I just cut it in half. Okay? Now, if I take half of 90, I get 45 degrees. And 40, that's half again, so half, 1/2 times pi over 2 is pi over 4. All right, I'm moving down here. I hope I don't get out of view. Okay? And if I keep going with this, I can get some other angles. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1/3 of 90, which is 30 degrees. I'm really interested in the common angles here, right? 30, 1/3 of 90, and 1/3 times pi over 2 is pi over 6. So with these common angles, you can figure them all out. Let me make sure that's in. I'm going to check. Yeah, we're still in the view, I guess. 30 degrees is pi over 6. Now I assume you have this up here. I'm just going to erase this here. You already have this in your chart, and I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to double this to 60 degrees. So that's 2 times pi over 6, which is pi over 3, right, when you reduce it. Pi over 3 radians, okay? Now, there are some we're missing. 90 degrees is, pi over 2 is 90 degrees, so 270 degrees is pretty important. And 270 degrees, okay, is 3 times 90, or 3 times 3 pi over 2. Radians, all right? Now, it's up to you to really learn this chart. You don't really kind of memorize it, you kind of learn it, because you can derive it very quickly from 2 pi is 360 and dividing by 2 and doing all this stuff that we just did. You have to know this. When you see 60 degrees, you have to say to yourself pi over 3. When you say 45 degrees, pi over 4, okay? And any multiple of, say, pi over 3 that's irreducible has a reference angle of 60 degrees, which is really nice. So it's really easy to tell what the reference angle is. For example, 5 pi over 3 has to have a reference angle of 60 degrees, okay? If it were 6 pi over 3, it wouldn't, but if it's irreducible, like 11 pi over 3 also has a reference angle of 60 degrees. It might go around a few times, you know, or at least once. But it ends up having a reference angle of 60 degrees. So you have to learn these very, you know, as soon as you see 30 degrees, you know, pi over 6. If you see pi over 4, you think 45 degrees.